Welcome back to another weekly roundup of cloud gaming news brought to you by yours truly. Remember, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest in cloud gaming, be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next video, and of course if you enjoy the content, give the video a like, helps the channel out a lot. But for now, let's get into this week's cloud gaming news. Starting things off with Microsoft Game Pass streaming, where this week The Verge got a first look at the service running in the browser. As we've previously talked about, due to Apple's stance on cloud gaming, several services like Stadia and GeForce Now have developed web-based solutions as a workaround to make their services available to the over 1.5 billion iOS users. So we have a couple of screenshots of Game Pass streaming running in the web browser, which I'll throw up here. The front page is looking very similar to the Xbox Windows application, allows you to see games that have recently been added to the service, games which will be leaving, as Game Pass is another one of these services that annoyingly rotates games in and out, and also the ability to resume a game where you previously left off. Unlike GeForce Now, which allows you to play games in the browser with either a mouse and keyboard or a controller, it's looking like Game Pass streaming will be controller only. Once a game is launched, it does go into full screen mode, so you're not actually playing the game within the browser window. However, at this point, it's still unclear what resolution Game Pass streaming in the browser will actually launch with. In its current state on Android devices, the service is capped at a max resolution of 720, which isn't great, but is less noticeable on smaller devices like phones and tablets. If your main interest in this service is finally being able to stream to your iOS device, then this is no big deal. However, if the service launches in the browser at 720, then that kind of resolution on a larger 4K PC monitor will really start to show. Fingers crossed with the launch we'll see an increase to at least 1080, but honestly I wouldn't expect 4K streaming until the server blades are upgraded from Xbox One S hardware to Xbox Series X hardware, which is currently planned for later this year. Let me know if this is something you're looking forward to. Personally, I'm interested to see if streaming to a device other than my Android phone improves the kind of average performance that we've seen from Game Pass streaming in the past. Next is a new week, which of course means new titles have made their way to GeForce Now, which I'll throw up on the screen here. Another week where they've hit double digits with 11 new games being added, on top of the 12 games that they added last week and 13 at the start of the month. Considering at the start of the month their roadmap stated that they were planning to add 30 titles, let's just say they are absolutely smashing it. Last week we also talked about the Outriders demo, which is coming to GeForce Now next week on February 25th, but in a rare move, developer People Can Fly has confirmed that any progress made in this demo will actually be carried over into the full game upon its release on April 1st, so long as you keep playing on the same platform. We've also been given details of the download size for the demo. It's looking like for PlayStation and Xbox players, they can expect a download size of 22 gigs, while the PC version comes in slightly chunkier at 24 gigs, versus GeForce Now, which is absolutely nothing. The Outriders demo will contain no time limits and will include cross-play co-op support. However, leveling will be capped at level 7, which is enough to unlock 2 skill points and any of the class's full ability, and resource gathering will also be capped, as the crafting system will not be available until the game's full release. Excited to check this one out. I'll most likely be streaming it here on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed with those notifications turned on. Of course, what would a week in cloud gaming be without a Stadia controversy? Actually make that too. To start, following the closure of Stadia's first-party studio, it has now come to light that just days before the closure, Phil Harrison sent a mass email to the studio's employees commending them for their, quote, great progress, and talking about future plans for 2021, all while knowing about the studio's impending closure, which the employees themselves only found out about right before we did. The email reads, "Stadia Games and Entertainment has made great progress building a diverse and talented team and established a strong lineup of Stadia exclusive games. We will confirm the SG&E investment envelope shortly, which will in turn inform the SG&E strategy and 2021 objectives and key results." After the closure, Google had promised to attempt to find new positions for the 150 plus developers impacted by the studio's closure, which recent reports state is proving to be more difficult than originally thought, with the developers having specialized skill sets which other positions at Google can't take full advantage of. And that all sounds bad. What could make things worse for Stadia right now? How about a class action lawsuit? The lawsuit, which was originally filed in October 2020, alleges that Google, quote, greatly exaggerated the streaming quality and display resolution in order to, quote, juice subscription numbers for Stadia ahead of the launch in November 2019.
Vineyard tours, seminars, arts and crafts. It's a lot of fun, a whole day. Stop. Oh, ow.
This essentially stems from something we've talked about time and time again when it comes to Stadia, and that is miscommunication. On the record, Stadia has explicitly stated that all games would be capable of streaming at 4K 60, but this was confusingly rolled back at a later date, stating some games would be rendered at a lower resolution and the stream would then be upscaled to hit that 4K mark. Now, to be fair, the entire blame can't lie with Stadia for this one. Despite their miscommunication, the actual decision to run a game at 4K 60 on Stadia ultimately lies with the developers. That being said, if the developers have struggled to hit 4K 60 performance in the process of porting their games over to Stadia, then maybe it is Stadia's fault? I don't know. And around we go. The lawsuit is seeking damages for anyone who purchased a Stadia Founders Edition, Premier Edition, or paid for a Stadia Pro subscription based on the promise from that miscommunication that all games would be in 4K. Once again, this whole thing brings me back to a point we've made so many times before. I'm surely not the only one who feels like being a founder for Google Stadia was essentially like being a paying beta tester. For a brand new service on this scale to release to the public without some kind of early access or beta tag attached to it is actually pretty rare these days, but that one word could have gotten Stadia out of so many of these situations in the past year and a bit, including this lawsuit, which we're not even actually sure will progress at this point. But it is a great deal harder to sue a service for underperforming when it's made clear that it is in a beta state. Interested to hear your thoughts on both of these Stadia stories. How long do you think we'll see Phil Harrison staying in his role? Do you think there's grounds for a lawsuit based on Stadia's miscommunication? Let me know down below. And let's finish off with some good news from Shadow. After just one short week, Shadow have managed to clear things up with Apple, and the iOS version of the Shadow app has now been reinstated on the Apple App Store. It was noted removal was due to a, quote, misunderstanding surrounding the nature of the app. As we previously discussed, Shadow's app gets a cheeky pass on the Apple terms of service by launching into a full Windows desktop instead of launching from a library of games, which makes it a generic remote desktop application instead of a cloud gaming app like Stadia, GeForce Now, or Microsoft Game Pass. Honestly, this one is a truly impressive turnaround time. The ability to impact a decision made by a company the size of Apple within the space of a week is nothing less than monumental. But that's it from me. So of course, if you enjoyed the video, you found it somewhat helpful, a like rating would be appreciated. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next video. Hope everyone's staying safe out there. And as always, I shall see you in the next one.